Hello, 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 hello. How are you all doing today? I am so excited to finally come and talk about this hot topic. I know a lot of you all have been looking for me and waiting for me, and here I am. Here I am. Let's talk about it. Yes, I have been out here in these social media streets listening to so many other people discuss this. This is a very hot topic right now, and it's getting hotter by the day. It's getting hotter by the day. So I did not know Charlie Kirk prior to this. I am so ashamed to say that, and it's very unfortunate that I did not know him until this assassination. And let's call it what it is. It it was an assassination. It was an assassination. Period. And I just cannot believe that I did not know him prior to this. And I really would have, liked to have known him. And that just goes to show you how massive this social media um, arena, if you will, really is. And I really, really appreciate a lot of the talking points of Charlie. And that's a name that you don't hear a lot about anymore, do you? The Charlies, the Davis, the Mikes, the Chris, and all of those guys. Where are they now? Now we got the Dantes and the Ray Rays and all of them, and these names, carry a certain energy. And I have never met a bad Charlie. You can depend on a Charlie. They hard working. Most Charlies, Charles and Charlie, they some good guys, aren't they? So from all outside appearances and from a lot of the video footage that I've seen of Charlie, he seemed to be a really great guy. And I really appreciate and commend him for being a man of faith and standing on kingdom business. Yeah, he did not waver, and he stood on business as it relates to talking and standing for Christ. I like that. That is very rare nowadays. And he also seemed to be a man not only of faith, but principles, patience, values, and accountability. And that used to be something, a lot of traits that used to be admired and appreciated and valued in America. But now, we're living in a society that is full of reprobate energy. Right is wrong, wrong is right. A lot of people try to shame you for being a person of principles and values and morals, having a moral compass. That's something that people try, a lot of these reprobate people try to shame you for. But we are living in a time where we have to be not ashamed of being affiliated and being a believer of Jesus Christ. A lot of people, they are dancing with the devil, but and they're not ashamed to say that they are devil worshipers. That has become normalized because we're living in the last days. You can look around and see evidence of we're living in the last days. These are the end times. And it's getting worse. The conditions are getting worse and worse every day. But there's three things that a lot of people have said is literally a death sentence to be talked about in society of America nowadays. Religion is guaranteed to render a fight. Gender, when you talk about gender, that's guaranteed to render a fight. And politics is guaranteed to render a fight. If you want to get in a fight with any of these people out here in society, talk about those three things: religion, politics, and gender. There goes an automatic fight. But Charlie was not afraid to pull up to a fight with love, of course. And he was a man that was principled. He was well versed, and he could go up against the best of them as it relates to debating any topic. And that's what a lot of people hated about him. He never backed down, he never wavered. And I like that. I've been looking at a lot of video footage of him where he was previously, talking and engaging with people in the streets. And I really like that he stood his ground. Whatever he believed in, he didn't go with the side that was popular. He didn't bend with his beliefs because you were offended or you didn't like what he said. And that is crazy how we live in a society where so many people are so emotional and they are so tender and their feelings are easily to be hurt, and they want you to apologize and say things in a nice way and package your words in a way where they can easily digest it. We don't have time to be nice. Okay, we don't have time to accommodate heathens. Okay, if you believe in Jesus Christ and you believe and you stand on his principles, the principles of God, God never changed. God never accommodated sin. So why should we as believers? Okay, and it's going to come a time, and that time is now, where you got to believe what you believe and stand on it and don't back down. And yes, Charlie lost his life, but he gained a whole nother life on the other side. So he's good. Okay, and then you have all of these heathens laughing at his death, mocking his death, and spewing all this hate and all this rhetoric that is misinformation and misleading. And this started, from my understanding, with Kevin Samuels dying. You had all these heathens, mostly black women, celebrating his death, mocking his death, laughing at him dying, as if they're not going to have their turn. Okay, but then if it was the other way, if it was to be the other way around, and had Kevin Samuels laughed at any one of their family members or friends or loved ones, they would have been calling for his neck. They would have been trying to cancel him and pretending to be so offended and could not get over it and all of that. But these are people who feel entitled. They can do what they want to do, but they have certain terms and conditions for certain other people. That's crazy. Okay? So then there was the CEO of the insurance company. He got killed not long ago by that deranged guy. You remember that? So a lot of people celebrated his death and supported the killer. We're living in the last days. We're living amongst a lot of reprobate heathens, okay? Right is wrong, wrong is right. I never thought I'd see the day where people would celebrate death. Who raised these people? We don't celebrate death. We don't mock the dead, okay? This is crazy. And then you got all these rappers and all these heathens in the hip-hop community. When some of their ops die, they love to say, oh, I'm smoking on Junebug, I'm smoking on Ray Ray, or whatever the case may be. And that's diabolical, okay? And then it's been so many people who have died. And if these heathens don't like that person, they say, oh, that's their karma. That's their karma. But when something bad or unfortunate happens to them, you don't never hear them say, that's their karma. That's niggas being niggas. Niggas are the only ones that holler and scream, oh, that's their karma. That's their karma. But karma, interestingly, they never apply karma to themselves and the people who they like when something bad happens to them. But that's a whole nother video. So a lot of these heathens have been laughing about Charlie Kirk's death and mocking him and spewing all this hate. And guess what? A lot of people have been getting fired for all of this hateful rhetoric and laugh. And then they want to scream, oh, it's freedom of speech. It's one thing to have freedom of speech and express yourself as under freedom of speech. But it's another thing to just spewing hate speech. Okay? Hate speech and freedom of speech is two different things. And they try to manipulate and try to get away with all this hate speech. Everybody knows, unless you're mentally retarded, you know when you're saying something hateful and low down, okay? And you know that it's wrong to be mocking the dead. You know that. Even if you haven't been raised right. Okay? I don't even see animals mocking the dead. Okay? And it's pretty bad when animals have more of a moral compass than a lot of these human beings. And God gave us dominion over the animals. But a lot of these heathens, they act as if they're lower than the animals. And I have more respect for the animals. Animals don't even behave like a lot of these heathens. But I digress. So, yeah. And I just can't believe a lot of these teachers have been acting an ass online. You know, the internet has become a very, very dark place. And it was never intended, in my opinion, to be a dark, dark place like it has become. And the internet has been a blessing, but it has also been a curse for a lot of these people. Just like the tongue. The tongue, it can be a weapon. It can be you can use your tongue for good things, but you can also use your tongue for destruction, okay? And a lot of people have weaponized the internet and weaponized their mouth, and a lot of people are fucking around and finding out because of the stuff that they're letting out of their mouth, okay? And they don't like that part. They like to run their mouth and say all these hateful things about people on this internet, and there's in a safe place where they think they're safe. But then when it's time to fuck around and find out, they don't like to fuck around and find out. But a lot of people are fucking around and finding out. This is fuck around and find out season. And now that a lot of these people are losing their job, now they don't want to keep that same energy. They want to get somewhere and cry and say, "Oh, I lost my job. I lost my job." Where was that energy when you were standing around laughing at Charlie Kirk? He lost his job, so he lost his life, but you can't stand to lose your job. You can get another job, but Charlie Kirk can't get another life on this side of heaven. Okay? But you want to laugh at Charlie Kirk for losing his life, but you don't want to lose your job after you talk all this bullshit about him. And I'm sick of these people calling him a racist. He was not a racist, in my opinion. He talked about racial issues. And so many people don't want certain people to talk about racial issues. They want to hide behind their race and feel like they should get a pass because of, oh, they had it so bad growing up. They was poor. They didn't have a father. They ancestors was slaves. Well, that was your ancestors. That wasn't you. You was never a slave, but you got a slave mentality. Okay. And I am so sick of these people trying to manipulate the facts and calling certain people a racist while they themselves are the real racists. Okay? And then you got all these people in high positions. A lot of these people like Jamal Bryant, who I cannot take seriously as a preacher. The same guy that wanted to grow marijuana on the church grounds and have been having outside babies as a married man and as a preacher. He been taking that preacher penis and fornicating and committing sin and getting back in the pulpit as if he's so upright. I can't stand a hypocrite, okay? And it's giving hypocrite. So now Jamal, oh my gosh, now I saw a clip earlier. He's talking trash about Charlie Kirk, a dead man, a preacher, somebody that's supposed to be a preacher, really? And he's calling him a white supremacist. Jamal Bryant, he called Charlie Kirk in his death a white supremacist. Where's the facts to back that up, Jamal? We can show facts that you took your penis and impregnated and had some outside children with a whore. There's facts to back that up. So we can call you a whoremonger and a hypocrite. But where's the facts to back up your talking points as it relates to you accusing a dead man, Charlie Kirk, as being a white supremacist. This is crazy. And I have come to the conclusion I'm so sick of niggas and their racist rhetoric. The fact of the matter seems to be they really hate a lot of these white people because they cannot compete where they don't compare. And the proof is staring them in the face and everybody can see it. They haven't built anything. They've only caused chaos. And outside of shaking their ass, smoking dope, and doing drugs, and giving birth to terrorists in the community, they have built nothing. But they're tearing everything down. They are not ashamed of nothing, but they are offended by everything. I have never seen such a horrible group of people. Ugh. They don't want anybody to talk, whether they're black, white, purple, or green. They don't want nobody to talk about the ills of their community and their culture. They just want to do like they want to do and be like they want to be with no accountability. And that's why they really don't like Charlie Kirk, dead or alive. Okay? And if somebody in the white community or Indian or Mexican talks about the ills of the black community, they call them a racist. They automatically say that they're racist. But if it's somebody black that talks about the ills of the black community, they accuse us of being a hater. I'm so sick of them assigning that goofy ass term. Okay, you a hater. What am I a hater of? You don't have shit accomplished. You don't have nothing outside of the stuff that you steal and beg and take and rummage and pillage. What the hell am I supposed to be jealous of? Huh? Most of these niggas don't, the stuff that they have, they've stolen it. And outside of material shit, they don't have shit. Okay? And notice how they always bragging about material stuff, but they never brag about God. They never brag about their spirituality, their spiritual compass, because they're spiritually bankrupt, period. But that's a whole nother video. But they always accuse people of, like me, when I say something that they oppose about the black community or a black person, they always say, oh, you a hater. Oh, you just jealous. Or you talking down on your own kind. You talking down on your own people. First of all, my kind and my people are upright and have morals and principles and stand on business as it relates to raising their families, which Charlie Kirk talked about and encouraged black people to do. And let's face the facts, we have a proven track record of not doing that and doing everything in opposite of the will of God and disobeying God. But here we are with all these churches in the black community and claiming to be Christians, and we're doing everything, a lot of things, that God forbids. But that's another video. Okay, that's why a lot of these heathens, they don't want to go to church. They don't believe in God. They don't want to obey God. They don't want to obey the pastor. They don't want to listen to the pastor. They try to discredit the preacher and the pastor because they want to do what they want to do. Period. But they still want the blessings, the favor of God. Even if they steal and kill and destroy, they still feel like they should be entitled to God's blessings. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. And oh my God. So let's hurry up and wrap this up, because I really could talk about this all night and all day, and I don't have all night and all day to talk about it. Okay, but yeah, a lot of people are fucking around and finding out the hard way there is consequences and repercussions to running your mouth on social media and outside about the dead. Just like you hate Charlie Kirk, a lot of people love Charlie Kirk. And just like you would not stand for somebody talking trash about your dead loved one, a lot of people are not going to tolerate you talking about Charlie Kirk either. Okay. And there was two lynchings reported. It might be more than that. I just don't know about it, and may or may not have been reported. But there were 2 lynchings that happened yesterday. And I'm kind of thinking that it's possible that this might be related to a lot of this online hate relating to Charlie Kirk being assassinated and a lot of people talking shit. So the first person was a black student named Trey Reed, and he was found hanging from a tree near the Court of Governors dorm and the pickleball courts at Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi, which is not very far from here at all. And there was a second man. He was a white man. He was found hanging from a tree in a wooded area near Vicksburg, Mississippi. And I'm not sure if this is some get back, but it's giving some get back. That's what it's giving. He was 36 years old, and his name was Corey Zucatis. He was found hanging from a tree in Vicksburg, Mississippi. And yeah. So I don't know if this is related to a lot of the online hate related to Charlie Kirk death, but it's possible. It's possible. And so many people are losing their job because they're running their mouth recklessly online. And I think it's really, really immature for grown people to sit online and talk and taunt and bully and just saturate the algorithm with all of this hateful rhetoric. And these are probably some parents. If you don't know how to conduct yourself as a parent online or outside, how can we trust you to raise children and be stewards over children? When you acting childish yourself, it's real, real childish. And that's kind of insulting to children, because a lot of children don't even act like that unless they learn it from their garbage ass parents. But anyway, Charlie Kirk, he talked about fatherlessness, the fatherlessness rate in the black community. That is an issue. That is an epidemic, okay? And that's probably the result of so many lost individuals that walk around with their hair standing on top of their head and wearing their hair like a little girl and got blonde tips and twisted and bow-reds as a fucking grown-ass man. If they had a father, a solid father with a backbone, they would... I was getting ready to say something. Like, I'm not going to say it. But they will put some straightening on them. Let me put it like that. A father would say, get that shit off your head. Wear your pants right. Okay? They would never tolerate their son walking around with their pants hanging down if they had a father. And see, nobody holds the queens accountable. The single mama that loves to boast and brag about being a mother and the father. Okay? If you're not having a success rate as a mother, okay, or a mammy, why, and you voluntarily opening your legs to a deadbeat and getting some deadbeat dingaling, okay, that's your own fault, and you should be held accountable as the mother who wants to be the father too. Okay, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. But Charlie was sick of it too, and he talked about it. And a lot of people, that's why they call him a racist, because they don't like to be held accountable, and they don't like to have it put in their face. Charlie was holding a mirror. Okay, Charlie was holding a mirror to a lot of these heathens' face, and they can't stand it. They can't stand it. So Charlie also talked about crime in the black community. A lot of heathens in the black community, they pretend like they want the crime to stop, but the truth of the matter is, quiet as it's kept, they love the crime because they benefit from the crime. A lot of these queens, they have criminal children, and they know their children, Pookie and Ray Ray and Junebug and Keisha and Shanika, them, they know they smashing and grabbing. They know that they are carjacking. They know that they are killing other black people and stealing these flat screen TVs off of these trains and running in Walmart and taking them in the back and bringing them in their house. Okay, and parking these stolen cars with the VIN number scratched off and repainted in the garage and in the backyard, and the mammy and some of the daddies and uncles and cousins. They driving the hell out of them stolen cars. And that's why they really don't want the crime to stop. That's why they really don't want Donald Trump to send the National Guard. Because if Donald Trump send the National Guard, that means their playhouse is gonna be compromised. Their playhouse is gonna be torn down. Okay, and they want to keep their playhouse open. They want to keep the drugs coming through the neighborhoods because they benefit from the drugs. They addicted to the drugs. Okay, they want the guns to stay in the neighborhood because they like celebrating death. They love death. Look at them on Facebook. They got all these pictures, selfies in the cemetery, and pictures of the caskets and pictures of the cemetery all over their Facebook page. They love death. They love wearing memorial t-shirts with the dead folks all over the t-shirt. They love writing rest in peace Junebug on Facebook or whatever social media platform they on. They love putting teddy bears on these fucking utility poles. They love doubt. Listen at that garbage ass music that they love to listen to. It's always talking about somebody dead or somebody getting ready to die. And listen at them in the street. That's their conversation. That's their talking points. Who died? Who got ran over? Who got shot up? Who dead? They love death. That's on their tongue every time you turn around. Well, stop turning around, coming with me. Well, if I turn around or not, that's what they're talking about. Death, and destruction. But see, they don't like to admit it because they want to pretend like they so good and they just living a moral life and they obeying the law and they obeying God, and nothing could be furthest from the truth. But yeah, the greatest threat to blacks is not white on white crime. And so many people say, well, white people do it too. White people do drugs. White people on food stamps. White people steal. White people kill other white people. Look at Charlie. Charlie got killed by a white man. Well, they don't do it as much as blacks. Blacks do it every day religiously. Okay, whites do it, but they don't brag about it. Whites, some of their family members and friends probably go to jail. But when was the last time you heard a white person say, free Mike, okay, that might have committed a crime, somebody white in their neighborhood? They do not celebrate their loved ones and family members and co-workers going to jail and want them to be free. What you want Junebug and Ray Ray to be free for? So he can come out here just like y'all did Young Thug when he went to jail. Free Young Thug. A horrible criminal. But now that he's free and he run his mouth and telling y'all the truth just like Charlie Kirk did, now you want him to go back to jail. Okay, for talking. Y'all can't stand talking. Whew, I never saw such grown people that's supposed to be so thugged out and about their life and pretend to be so strong. A strong black woman, a strong black man, a king and a queen. But y'all can't stand talking. Y'all get so offended and y'all so tender when it comes to talking. You can't stand talking? Damn. And these are the same people who pretend like they want people to tell the truth, stand on the truth, walk in your truth. But then when somebody walk in their truth and tell the truth and speak their truth, you want them to shut the fuck up. You can't have it both ways. This is not Burger King. Okay? Oh, excuse me. I am sick of these people who are heathens and hypocrites. I'm sick of them. Okay. They are so hypocritical and feel so entitled. But like I said, the greatest threat to blacks is not white on white crime. When was the last time that you heard or saw a white person kill, carjack, or rape, or rob a black person? But I'm pretty sure you done saw a black or heard about a black do that to a white person probably today, or it's going to be tonight. Okay? They do it on a regular basis. But a lot of black people don't want it to be talked about. They want to protect these criminals in the black community. because they benefit from them. And there's a lot of these criminals in the black community are some of their family members and friends and lovers. Okay, that's why they don't want them talked about. And I'm so glad that Charlie, he talked about him, and he talked about him real good too. Somebody got to talk about it. Okay, if Charlie Kirk can't talk about it, and you don't want the preacher to talk about it, who can talk about it? You don't want somebody like me, a YouTube, a content creator talking about it. Okay, who can talk about it? Y'all want us to shut up, and then you try to shut us up with all this low down dirty stuff that y'all do to try to sabotage our platforms and try to cancel us and try to do this and try to do that. So you want us to shut up, and y'all want to be able to say what y'all say and do what y'all do, but you want to put a muzzle on our mouth. No, that's not how it works. But yeah, y'all are gonna learn to stop talking about the dead and respect the dead. Put some respect on the dead, because okay, fuck around and find out season is in full effect. Okay, and a lot of these people are not tolerating y'all talking about their loved ones. Okay, without some repercussions. But I'm gonna let y'all find that. I'm gonna let y'all find that out all by yourself. Okay. Okay, you don't have to take my word for it. Y'all gonna fuck around and find out all by yourself. Just keep on running your mouth and disrespecting the dead. Okay, but I really appreciate all the people who are standing on business as it relates to honoring Charlie Kirk. And thank God the alleged killer has been caught. I heard it was a tranny or had a love affair with a tranny. And that's another interesting thing. That's another group of people who feel so entitled. They want to do what they want to do. But had this been a Christian killing a tranny or somebody in the LGBT community, oh, it would have been so much outrage. Oh my God. And they would have been talking about the Christian community and trying to hold all the Christians accountable. But notice how quiet they are on that side when one of them do some killing to the other community. That's giving hypocrite. That's what it's giving. It's giving hypocrite. And for a long time, the Democrats, a lot of people say, this is a thing where it's, the Democrats against or the liberals against the Republicans. It's really a thing when it boils down to right versus wrong, the wrong side versus the right side. That's what it boils down to in our society. And for a long time, there have been a lot of wrongdoers in office that accommodated the wrongdoers. And now that we got a strong leader like Donald Trump in position that's holding the wrongdoers accountable, and somebody might say, well, he's a felon. How he gonna? Don't worry about that. Okay, don't worry about that. He regardless, he's the president, he's the leader, and he's putting some pressure on these diabolicals, regardless of however you may think about him. Okay, he's a leader. And the Bible, if you believe in the Bible and you respect the Bible and you believe in God and you respect God, God says we're supposed to respect the leader. Don't worry about what he's doing behind the scenes. If he's doing wrong, God is going to take care of him, just like the preacher. Don't worry about the preacher, what he doing and what he driving and what he eating and how he living. If he's wrong and he's not doing right with the tithes and offering, God is going to deal with him. That's not your business. That's not your business. Okay. You won't even hold Junebug and Ray Ray accountable. So if you want hold Junebug and Ray Ray and Keisha and them accountable, don't worry about Donald Trump and the preacher. Okay? But anyway, I'm so glad that Donald Trump is in position and he's applying pressure and putting his foot on a lot of these diabolicals' backs and necks and asses. And I'm so glad, he was friends with Charlie Kirk, and I heard he gonna attend the funeral. And I did not know about Charlie Kirk or his organization, Turning Point USA, but I think I'm gonna join it. I think that's a great organization, And I like what they stand for and their principles and values. And we need some people that stand on kingdom business and represent God. For real, for real. And I really like what they stand for. And Charlie Kirk, he may have died, but he died standing on business. And that's another thing. A lot of these heathens, they've been mocking him like Dale Hewley and Don Lemon today. I saw a video where they was running their mouth reckless about, and they need to kick him off this internet. They need to kick him off this internet with all this hate speech. Okay? And they was laughing and mocking him, Dale Hewley and Don Lemon, saying, oh, with his dying lips, he had gangs on his mouth. While he was getting ready to get killed, he left this world with gangs on his mouth, talking against gangs. Well, hell, with your living lips, you ought to be talking against the gangs. I never thought I'd see the day where a nigga would be defending the gangs. This is the same nigga that pretend like he want the crime in the black community to stop. Well, hell, how you gonna be against the gang, somebody talking against the gangs, and then you want to cape for the gangs? Damn, I don't understand it. But he's not the only one that's done said something like that. Everybody ought to be against the gangs. Whether Charlie Kirk talked about it or whoever. Everybody are against the gangs. They don't serve no good purpose. What good have the gangs did or will do? Everybody ought to be on the same page when it comes to the gangs. We ought to be wanting to dismantle the gangs. Okay? But that's crazy how they would defend the gangs because they don't like Charlie Kirk. And they don't like Charlie Kirk because he was talking against the horrible things that's going on in the black community, and they won't even talk about it because they are participating in it more than likely, and they are benefiting from it. Charlie Kirk, another talking point that I heard him say, and I heard some people saying that he was against the abortion, and that's another talking point that is guaranteed to bring a fight on. And so many people, especially in the black community, they love to have abortion and kill their children and pretend like, oh, it's just a form of birth control. Number one, you ain't supposed to be having sex if you're not married. Okay, and Charlie Kirk, he was an advocate for marriage between a man and a woman. That's what's got a lot of these heathens hot and mad with Charlie Kirk. Because, they're diabolical. They want to do what they want to do. They don't obey God. They don't want to listen to God. They don't want to listen to the preacher. And that's why they don't want to listen to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk stood for righteousness. A lot of these heathens, they don't want to be righteous. They don't want to hear nobody talk about righteousness. That's why they don't go to church. That's why they don't want to respect the pastor. And Charlie Kirk, he was against abortion. And they love abortion, especially in the black community. They love abortion, killing their own children. And Charlie Kirk, he had allegedly talked about how Planned Parenthood and the black community was set up to wipe the black community out, and how black people should not support it. That's another reason why a lot of them didn't like Charlie Kirk. Because, they love killing their children. They love fucking out of both draw legs, having sex, and committing all this sin. And they don't never talk about how many children they done kill. They own children. But these are the same people who call themselves a king and a queen. What kind of queen and a king is that'll kill their own children? Damn. And, oh my God, it's just terrible. It's just terrible how these unrighteous folks are just so delusional and full of confusion. And they just commit so much debauchery. And they don't want to be held accountable, but God is keeping a record. And He going to deal with them, one heathen at a time. Trust. So even if Charlie Kirk's mouth has been silenced, it's a whole lot of Charlie Kirks out here, and Charlie Kirk's. Okay, so don't think that you done heard the last of Charlie Kirk just because this idiot done shot him down. Okay, it's a whole lot of more Charlie Kirks out here. Okay, it's a lot of them. And if you can't stand Charlie Kirk, man, how you gonna shut everybody up that stand for righteousness? You can't shut everybody up. Okay, you just gonna have to get right. You're gonna have to stop doing wrong and stop being wrong and just get right. Okay, so then those words, those righteous words and talking points won't hurt you so bad. Okay, that's the demons just screaming every time they hear something righteous. Make them shut up. Make them shut up. Shut them up. That's the demons inside just screaming and squealing. They can't stand righteous talking points. Righteous. They can't stand it because they want to be wrong, 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 wrong. But God is raising up a group of people that's going to stand on business and stand for righteousness and not backing down. Not backing down. You can't cancel them. You can't report them. You can't do nothing but get out of their way or get right. That's all you're going to be able to do. Okay. Yes. That's it and that's all. Yeah. And you know what? This right here is a turning point. Just like Charlie Kirk organization, the name of Charlie Kirk organization, this is a turning point. And it has this whole situation, I see the good in it because it has shed light on a dark group of people. And it's almost like they have been like a sleeper cell. I had no idea that so many wide back grown adults had so much hate in their heart. And I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it so we can be aware and we can be on high alert and be prepared to take action. These people are serving our coffee at Starbucks. These people are teaching your children in classrooms. These people got businesses and organizations and they driving up and down on the same street and living in our neighborhood and going to the same gas station. We need to know what we are up against and what we got to contend with. Yes, these are the type of people that will pee in your coffee cup when you're not looking. Yes, these are the type of people that will spike your drink or spike your food and pretend like they don't know what happened to you. Yes, these are some dirty motherfuckers. And we need to keep our eye on them. We need to put them in a database. And I'm so glad that it's so many people that screenshot and screen record and turning these people into their jobs because they are a danger to society. You don't mock the dead and sit up and spew all this hate against a dead person. No, you don't do that. Even if your mammy and your daddy did not teach you right, you know right from wrong. As a grown motherfucker, you know right from wrong. And that's wrong all day long. You do not mock the dead and talk all this hateful stuff against the dead and laugh and dance and celebrate a person losing their life in such a horrible, tragic way. Okay. And those people that's doing it, y'all some low down motherfuckers. You're evil. And God is going to deal with y'all. Okay. Okay. That's what I got to say about that. But, yeah. A lot of people losing their job because they can't shut their fucking mouth and stay off the internet with all of this debauchery. And rightfully so. They getting exactly what they deserve. Yes. And, okay, I want to say something else, but I'm just going to leave that in my head. Okay? I'm going to leave that in my head. But thank y'all so much for tuning in to this live. Let me see what y'all got to say before I leave. Okay, I see somebody. Maverick born. Yeah, animals have more compassion than a lot of these human beings. Hello, Candy. Yes. Yeah, they very dog. They very, very dog. But let's keep an eye on them because they really are a danger to society. They can't be trusted. Anybody that sit up on the internet and talk the way a lot of these idiots have been talking, they can't be trusted. We got to keep an eye on them. Anybody that'll mock and laugh at the dead, that's somebody that we got to keep our eye on. You hear me? We got to keep our eye on them, and there's a lot of them out here. Woo! But yeah, they are fucking around and finding out they losing their jobs left to right because they don't have no self-control and they just out here disrespecting the dead. And I don't feel sorry for them. Okay, I don't feel sorry for them. Let them keep on fucking around and finding out. All right. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this live. And I guess tomorrow we're gonna talk a little bit about Donald Trump bringing the troops to Memphis, boots on the ground in Memphis, and don't believe that rhetoric. All this rhetoric online. Somebody put out that the heathens had stole the military tanks. Don't y'all know a AI generated image when you see it? If that was true, that would have made national news. Okay. They wish they could pull that off. Okay. They stupid, but they not that stupid. Okay. Let's not believe everything that they put online because a lot of it is misinformation and fake news. Okay. Okay. Notice how they put everything but their accomplishments as a civilized person of substance. They don't never put their diplomas and degrees, jobs and that they don't get and stuff like that. They don't never put that up there. They always put up foolishness because they are a foolish group of people that ain't going nowhere at a high rate of speed. Okay, I'm sick of them. And God is getting he getting ready to put some pressure on them. Okay, I don't know where they gonna go, but I'm so glad. I'm so glad that God has put Donald Trump in office, and they're gonna have to go somewhere. I don't know where they're going. Okay, but the Mississippi, that's who they need. Arkansas and Mississippi police and law enforcement, they need them to join forces with the Memphis folks and the FBI and the TIA and the CIA and whatever other alphabets that could get some straightening put on them. Okay, I heard on the news this morning that the DeSoto County, that's South Haven, Mississippi, they are cleaning out their jail cells and getting rid of all them old inmates to make room for these heathens that's getting ready to get locked up when Donald Trump sent these troops into Memphis. I wish he'd stop saying that he gonna send them and go on to send them. And don't tell them when he gonna send them. Don't make no announcement. Just let them pull up. Just let them pull up and put boots on the ground and put boots on some ass. Okay, that's how you do that. That's how you do that. It's nothing like the element of surprise. Okay, just pull up on the heathens and put boots to ass. That's how you do that. But anyway, these gangs and all these heathens that's ripping and running, racing up and down the street. I wish the troops would hurry up and come and get a hold of them. I've been so sick of them a long time ago. All these roguish heathens, all of these just diabolical folks that won't go somewhere and sit down and lay down in these overpriced, expensive ass houses, but a lot of them stand on Section 8. But whatever the case may be, they need to be dealt with, period. Okay, because I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them. A lot of people are sick of them. Okay, and they are out of control. And notice how it ain't nobody but the niggas that saying, oh, we don't need the troops over here. We don't need the troops. We can take care of our own business. Well, if you can take care of your own crime, why you ain't already did it? Okay, they don't want, and that's another thing. I've been seeing a lot of the police on the street. All of a sudden now they want to make a good impression for Donald Trump because they don't want him to come. They don't want Donald Trump and all these people to come because all eyes will be on them. And everybody gonna know that these niggas that's in charge ain't been doing shit to control the city and control the heathens. Because